until like
Stop. TP, don't let him fool you. This about Rondé. This about Rondé. Don't let him fool you.
It absolutely is not.
I'm
But
waiting for
all
the
I'm saying
punchline.
is a Hall of Fame career is just that. You put up better stats than everybody in your position should warrant you being in the Hall of Fame.
You said it
Like,
should, or you said it should, or it shouldn't?
it should.
Okay.
I don't understand the gray area. There should not be a gray area.
So in the history of the NFL, Joe Thomas has the greatest drop back to sacks given up ratio of any offensive lineman that's ever played the game.
How many years did he play?
How many years?
Yeah, how many years in the league was he?
It was like 13, 12,
Oh my
13.
God. After 7, you go to the Hall of Fame.
But what I'm saying is, out of 6,600 dropbacks, he gave up 30 sacks.
He played from 07 to 17.
12 years.
That don't seem right. That don't seem right. Hold on, something missing. I feel like he played like a little bit longer than that. But no, that was it. That might have been it.
12 years. It was 12 years.
After 7 years, after you can reach retirement, and you are leading in a stat like that, you are a Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
At O-lineman?
You know what?
He had to see James Harrison twice a year. Terrell Suggs twice a year. And he still only gave up 30 sacks in his whole career?
T-Sizzle? Oh.
Yeah.
He's not going against bums, by the way.
I'm not saying he Tony Baselli. I'm not even saying he Tony Baselli. He's way
better than Tony Baselli. Tony Baselli didn't do shit. He wasn't even blocking Mark Brunell's blind side. Like, let's not go there.
So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, at some point, winning has got to matter. It's got to.
For offensive linemen, though?
First of all, you're stuck on that stat. And winning is what you're supposed to do as a professional. That's what you suit up every day. But to grant you the Hall of Famer status doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a winning person on a winning team.
That's like saying Barry Sanders ain't a Hall of Famer.
No, Barry went to the playoffs. This dude never went to the playoffs. Barry went to the playoffs. I get what everybody is saying. I get his stats. I'm saying it never even translated to him having a good quarterback.
He can't go throw the ball for him. If the man can't throw the ball in the ocean, you gonna ask your left tackle to go throw it for him? No, we're gonna ask our left tackle to keep blocking, keep doing your job.
So keep him in the Hall of Fame to the guy who was the best player on the team at left tackle. You wasn't watching. There was nothing else good on that field.
Did you? Are you?
Wait, hold on. But I might be able to get him in the Hall of Fame. What was the dude that was?
Are you missing what I'm saying? He was the best player at his position in the league, not the best player on his team and happened to be a left tackle. He was the best left tackle in the league.
I may be able to get him into the Hall of Fame based on one thing. What was the white running back that Matt had on the cover?
Do not
Peyton Hillis?
have a Hall of Fame vote.
You talking about Peyton Hillis?
This is all cannon fodder. I don't even know how to see a discussion. This dude has put up the stats to be a Hall of Famer.
By far. He should be a first ballot. Which he will be, because this is his first time up. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. When you are the best player at your position the entirety of your career, and you play over 7 years, automatic Hall of Fame. It shouldn't even be a question.
So,
Zach Thomas was never the best player at his position while he was in the league. Rondé Barber was never the best player at his position when he was in the league.
Top 5.
Hell, Hines Ward was never the best player at his position when he was in the league.
Oh no, we started now. No, he not just gonna do that. Talking about the Hines Ward slander. Nope.
I'm not. That's not slander. That's a fact. That was a fact. I didn't say nothing bad about him. I just said he was not the best while he was in the league, and as a fact, you can go look it up. Stats will tell you that.
I'm glad we started early. I started recording early because this be the good stuff to be missing out on the outtakes. This be the good stuff. This be the good stuff. All right.
I'm just here for the facts. I'm gonna give you straight facts, and then I'm gonna let them speak for themselves.
Now this because Tuesday talking about you just gonna let Jazz come on the podcast and say anything. That set Twitter on fire.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
You turned into the Grinch that stole Christmas.
Oh! We back. Full strength. No power play. 3 men. 3 mics. We back. It's us. Keep that same energy. Oh. So Marlo, missed a whole lot last week. But one of the things you're missing, I didn't want to touch it because you was not here. And being as you are the resident HBCU resident, Florida A&M somehow did not make the FCS playoffs. And Coach Prime had some questions on that, on how that is even possible. Now, if you look at the bracket, there is not one HBCU that is in the bracket. Not one. I don't think I can remember a year where there wasn't one.
Well, here's the thing. Until we stop taking our money, out of this college playoff, like out of the HBCUs, I am more than confident if we decided to do our own playoffs, it would be more heavily attended than these other playoffs at these other schools, because not one of them travel like HBCUs, especially playoff-worthy HBCUs. And 2, if we don't, as a collective, start standing with each other, like Coach Prime did, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for Deion Sanders. I don't care what nobody say about that dude. He is about that business. Deion Sanders said it profits Jackson State nothing to be in a playoff because you have to pay the organization to host a playoff game and hope you recoup the money. Absolutely the most insane shit I've ever heard in sports. That's just like saying Alabama got to pay, or better yet, Georgia has to pay the NCAA to host or to participate in a goddamn playoff game. The dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
I don't think any of the Montana or South Dakota schools can beat Florida A&M. I don't think they can beat FAMU. I mean, they can beat BCC.
There is a lot of schools that should not be participating in this playoff. But I might get some backlash for this. They have the complexion for the connection. Their squad don't look like our squad. Their coaching staff don't look like our coaching staff. Their fan base don't look like our fan base. The only reason why we're not in this, what's the travel schedule for a family to go up to Montana or to damn Ohio to play a playoff game in December or in January?
What you talking about? They did it before. Hold on, they did it before.
They did it before. I'm saying, what is the motivation? How them schools
I
gonna
mean,
travel?
the motivation is always to compete. Wherever you can go to compete and show that you're the best, that's the motivation behind it. Now,
But
there's a committee that's choosing these teams. We need to
absolutely,
start checking some of those alma maters, if you get what I'm saying. You got the good old boys club where you got guys that's picking the teams, but they went to these schools. There should be no conflict of interest with the committee. I think it starts there.
I think it starts with having a true power ranking. You can't tell me we lose to a Power Five conference and the number five team in the playoffs, and everybody else we beat, and we don't get in.
I mean, start doing it like, the FBS, where they actually have three polls that
Yeah,
they ultimately choose from and combine numbers from the three polls to decide who makes it into the playoffs, which we'll get to that in a second. But they have a system in place where there's actually multiple ways of looking at it. Normally they line up. There may be one or two discrepancies, but then that's when the committee gets together and they start really breaking down the numbers, and that's why they start using the computer generated system to pick the teams that made it to the playoffs or made it to the championship game.
I have a problem with the system because they don't really. There's no transparency about how these teams are chosen. They say a committee picks, but where's the transparency? How do we know how these teams were ranked?
Yeah,
How do we know?
that's what I was agreeing with you on.
Yeah, this is way deeper than rap, and I think that like they don't want two powerhouse HBCUs to come in there and rip shot.
I mean, they couldn't keep Jackson State out. They was undefeated.
Absolutely could not. But if
You
they could
can't.
have found a way,
Right.
they would have tried. Why is Jackson State ranked number five?
Should be number one by far.
Like that's so the number five
It's
team
silly. It's silly.
is silly season. The number five team got to play a the lower higher end of a 1-2 seed in a
Right.
playoff bracket. So you ain't got them playing um say what is it 1-6-5-2. So you hoping the number two team that y'all ranked above Jackson State could pull an upset and knock them off, so they don't have to play number one, because that's the next game. Like
It,
it's so stupid.
imagine setting up your bracket and the 2 seed is the underdog against the 5 seed in the first round. Your
Absolutely,
bracket is fucked up. I'm telling you. If that
and it's absolutely going to be that way.
All right.
Because what two seed? First of all, what other 14 is there in these playoffs that are going to be ranked above Jackson State?
So for context, let me get a bracket and the records. All right. In the first round, because the 1 through 8 seeds get a first round bye. In the first round, St. Francis, Pennsylvania versus Delaware. St. Francis is 9-2. Delaware is 7-4. What's FAMU's record, by the way, Marlo? I'll wait.
9-2.
And the next game, Fordham versus New Hampshire. In the next game, Gardner-Webb, 6-5 versus Eastern Kentucky, 7-4. I will put my money on FAMU against both of them schools. But wait, The North Dakota school, which is 7-4, versus Weber State, which is 9-2. Southeast Missouri State, 9-2, versus Montana, 7-4. I'm starting to see a theme here. Idaho, 7-4, versus Southeastern Louisiana, 8-3. Elon, 8-3, versus Furman, 9-2. Davidson is a basketball school, 8-3, versus Richmond, another basketball school, 8-3. Who the fuck y'all think we is? You think we stupid. That's what it is. You think we stupid.
I mean,
all these teams.
I'm not mad at the 8-3s, but why is we got 6-5s and 7-4s in there, and there's HBCU sitting at 9-2 and 8-3 that didn't get a call?
I'm gonna say this, and I want everybody to hear what I got to say. There is a reverse issue in the FCS playoffs than the FBS. In the FCS, Middle America seems to dominate somehow. And in major college football, the South dominates. And that's only because of the exclusion of teams that have more speed than you. It's only one team that's in that area that got more speed than the rest of the teams on here. And that's South Dakota State and North Dakota State.
Where is South Dakota State getting their players from?
California. South Dakota and North Dakota State are getting their players from California.
Absolutely.
That's the difference. That's why if you look at the championships over the past few years, you see them same schools for a reason.
And a lot of their kids are transfers from USC, UCLA, Stanford, Oregon. They don't make the cut there, so they go up to South Dakota.
So I'm gonna say this.
Let me say this. Before we get any equality in any of these playoffs and postseason accolades, we will have to demand it. We haven't demanded. Like it's a one-day story. But if we turn the TV off, if we stop supporting any of these games that don't represent us, if we stop allowing them to give them what they think we should have, until that day comes, we will never have our proper seat at the table. We will never be on equal footing. They really don't believe that our alumni base is about their life. But if they look in the Fortune 500 round, or if they look at some of these other major players in entertainment, in television, most of them are coming from HBCUs. And this really feels like a slap in the face by the people who are putting these playoffs together, because who wants to go to South Dakota in December to watch a football game? Who wants to go to Central America, to Central USA to watch a football game in December? Like it does not make sense that you have several 7-4 teams who lost to teams that were not in the Power 5 conference, or the number 5 seeded team in their so-called poll, who should be ranked higher. I'm just gonna put it out there like that, who should be ranked higher. And like if you look at some of the losses on these 7-4 teams, it doesn't even make sense. The shit don't make sense. And it's unjustifiable that they can sit there and think that, oh, we'll just put them out this year and they'll be okay. No, absolutely not. And until we get tired of getting shitted on by these polls or by these ancillary playoffs and other things, until we start taking onus of our own, like if you look at the top HBCU university football programs, we have enough power to create our own playoff. We have enough teams at the top with enough fan base to create a marketable playoff, even if you only did 8 teams. More than enough. We will have advertisers, we have networks clamoring to get their hands on this playoff. But it also comes with solidarity, and we have to stay together as a collective, and we have to demand respect. It has to be demanded. And until that happens, they're going to keep giving us the rubber shoe.
So here's I'm gonna segue a little bit because there was some news that came out, and let's be honest, this wasn't about Deion, it was about the schools that offered Deion a head coaching job. There are schools that offered Deion the head coaching job at their institutions because they knew he wasn't coming. South Florida, he wasn't coming there.
For what?
Colorado, he's not coming there.
For what?
Cincinnati, he's not coming there.
For what?
I've been telling y'all this because I'm in the alumni chats. We know Deion has been getting phone calls from Tallahassee. We know there have been conversations. And as much as I feel like Deion ain't going nowhere in the next, how much time Shador got? What, another year? 2 years?
2.
In the next year and a half, I don't believe he's going anywhere. One, the Cincinnati job is not a Power 5 job. That is a step down. He might as well stay where he had at Jackson State. The Colorado job. The Pac-12 is going to basically be decimated with the loss of UCLA and USC, its richest 2 institutions next to Oregon.
They're trying to block UCLA leaving. Actually, there's
that's gotta be. They got to do a vote, right?
Yeah, it's in litigation. Actually, they're gonna have they are having the hardest time. I think USC is gone for sure, but UCLA, they might get stuck there, and that would be a terrible situation for them.
It'll be temporary.
Yeah, it'll be temporary. Like, it'll just push things back until they can get the proper approval. But as of right now, they're not set in stone to be leaving the Pac-12.
But the only thing that I don't even know why they would litigate that, because they got to pay you to leave, get your check, and rebuild your conference.
With who? With who?
Anybody. They got the money. It's not a money thing.
So here's the problem with the renegotiation of TV rights deals. One, the Longhorns threw a monkey wrench in everybody's TV deal.
They got their own network,
which led to beef in the Big 12. which led to, you know what, we ain't got to take this, we out. And we taking Oklahoma with us. So not only did they leave, they took their biggest rival with them, which is what UCLA and USC are attempting to do as well. Because the TV rights, it's the TV. The Big Ten is negotiating a new TV deal. The ACC, for some reason, have the worst TV deal out of the Power Five. And you have Clemson won what? 2 national championships in the last 12 years? The last 12 years, 2 national champions. How is that even possible? Now, I understand the whole, like, you don't really want to negotiate with somebody named Dabu. I get it. But 2 national championships, 12 years, that money ain't adding up. Which is leading to a lot of chatter about Florida State and Miami not being there. And once Florida State and Miami go, remember the ACC was already on its last legs when Florida State got there. And then we brought Miami in with Virginia Tech to make it a super conference. So,
yeah, when they dismantled the Big East.
Yeah, when the Big East got just, oh man.
They
They
decimated.
Yeah.
There's not even a Big East conference, but it is in basketball, which UConn dominates with ease every year.
So we're here, and everybody's like, well, you know, Deion hasn't said anything because he's not desperate. These are jobs that are desperate for a splash. They need a splash. USF does not have an on-campus facility. Of the 3 jobs I just named, they are the worst. They play in Raymond James Stadium that they cannot sell out because there isn't a home crowd flavor. There isn't.
Well, I can honestly say when UCF was winning, they were selling out Raymond James.
I'm sorry, USF. And that was back in 2007, Marlo, when they was the number 2 team in the nation.
Exactly. This is why coaching matters. Deion has sold out almost every game at Jackson State.
Yeah.
Before he got there, how many sellouts has Jackson State had?
I think maybe homecoming, maybe.
Their football program was basically teetering on the verge of collapse. If you look back to before he got there, since he's gotten there, they've gotten new facilities, a new stadium, actually a new football field. Walmart, thanks to Walmart, they're looking out. They've had Fortune 500 sponsors. Do you think that in Florida, with the recruiting that Deion can do in Florida, that the draw to people like USF is a very large campus?
But they have horrible, that's the problem. They have horrible facilities on campus.
On campus. But Deion Sanders is the draw. Like people don't understand that. Like
Deion is a draw anywhere. Here's the problem with USF, Marlo. The campus, right? The campus that they built
miles away from the stadium.
I ain't even talking about that. I'm talking about where they have allotted space for the football team. The football team is basically squished into the old intramural field. They're across 50th, and for people who Tampa, y'all know, across 50th, there are condos that are across the. They need to buy that. They need to buy that. And until they buy that land, they're stuck.
What you think Jackson State facilities look like before Deion Sanders got there?
Oh, I'm sure they was absolute trash.
Go to Bethune-Cookman campus, and that's what Jackson State facilities
you could wait to get
like.
you a Bethune shot in, huh?
I ain't saying nothing about the win. I ain't saying nothing about that. But I'm just compare and contrast. You look at their facilities before Deion got there and to where after he got there, and what happened.
So Here's what I thought would have happened at USF, and Marlo, you know the campus as well as I do from track. I assumed that they would take that track stadium, dismantle it, and build another one somewhere else on campus, and then use that area for the football facilities. But that never happened.
They have more property than people really understand. USF is not in a desert as far as property is concerned. Like they have space, so they don't need to take the track, or they don't need. They can build an entirely new facility. They build micro labs for $20 and $30 million. You don't think they can put that money into building a facility that's actually bringing money to the school, especially with a coach with that much notoriety? That shit is that's chess, not checkers. I would definitely go after Deion if I was at school.
Yeah,
yeah, they hired Charlie Strong.
You know what? Here's what I find interesting, right? They had Charlie Strong. They had Willie Taggart. They've had coaches. They just haven't put resources. They haven't put resources behind any coaches. Skip Holtz, who was moderately successful, but he was an idiot because he wanted to push around players and whatnot, was moderately successful, but they haven't put the resources in. I don't know why that is. Again, this is a commuter school. They just got football, what, a year before I got there in grad school? What we talking about? They had it in, what, 97, 98 maybe? So football to them is a brand new concept. However, they've had football people there. And for whatever reason, they haven't put the resources behind it. And that's why I say I don't think Deion is considering that facility. But I also feel like
I disagree. I think that would be the better fit of any of the other universities that is trying to court Deion. Because Deion can make that school what he wants it to be.
But
there hasn't been a coach with as much notoriety as Deion Sanders to go to that school.
Oh, shit. But I gotta play devil's advocate. Got to.
Kids don't care about podcasts.
He does not want to go to bed. When I think of what would make sense for Deion, right? He should stay right where he at. Because he literally has nothing to prove. But USF, if they were trying to court him, what is their willingness to give him what he needs to be successful? They have not done that in the past. They do not have a good track record with that. So for him, he's already built a winning culture where he's at. To go to another place that doesn't have the mentality to want to win and are not willing to get behind him 100%, that would be a terrible fit for him. The only team out of all of those that I think would even come close to working is Colorado. And that's because they got money.
All right. Well, this going, because Deion really isn't doing anything until after the Celebration Bowl, which again, that Celebration Bowl is going to be a key marker in his resume, in his career. I expect a lot of things to change if he seals the deal with that Celebration Bowl. Because that Celebration Bowl is the Black National Championship, point blank period. And that Celebration Bowl will probably carry more weight than the FCS playoffs. Let's just be honest. But on to bigger and better things. No, I guess not really big. So this week, Patrick Peterson on his podcast this week said that Kyler Murray don't care about nobody but himself. And he based it off the antics, showing up the coach, getting into a press conference, and saying that schematically, you were fucked in a game. So basically, you just backed the whole bus over your entire offensive coaching staff. That's what we doing. Patrick Peterson said what he said. Kyler Murray said, that's not true. Instead of dragging me in the street to help your podcast grow, why don't you call me? Patrick Peterson said, bet, and text him. Because he just want to help you grow as a person. I don't know if that's possible, but whatever. All I got to say is this.
On behalf of every short person in the world, I hope for every week straight you stub your toe when you wake up in the morning. On behalf of short people worldwide.
Listen, here's my issue with Kyler Murray. My issue with Kyler Murray is that you dragging this coach in the press. If I recall, the Arizona Cardinals had a first-round draft pick quarterback before you got there. That coach went out on the limb and said, you know what? I know I got a first-round draft pick, but to make my system work, I need this guy. He can make my system work. And to be clear, the system is a process of things to achieve an outcome. System does not rely on people running around throwing off-schedule plays every goddamn play. And when I say he need to grow, he's not getting taller. I'm not dragging him about that. I'm now dragging him about his personality.
We know what you meant, Troy. You ain't fooling nobody.
Listen, I get it. But dude, of all of the young quarterbacks with talent, you're the worst. And I don't mean worst physically. I'm talking about worst as a leader. Like Trevor Lawrence is trying to lead. By the way, we're gonna get to Zay Jones. We're gonna get to Zay Jones later.
He can't be worse than the guy out in New York. And I'm not talking about the Giants.
Oh, wow, we're going. All right, so he tied with Zach Wilson.
No, he ain't tied because he's still starting.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. So all right, so the bar.
Mike White went out there and threw some dimes, and we might not ever see him again.
You know what, Kyle? I might owe you an apology because Zach was on the sidelines with his hoodie on, head down, like not congratulating his teammates. Like it was really giving like privilege. That's what it was giving. It was like you felt like somebody owed you something.
But Steve Young didn't like that sentiment when Booger McFarland brought it up. He said he's been given everything his entire life. He's probably never had to work for anything or been held accountable. And meanwhile, you got RG3 like, no, don't do it. But it's so true though. Kyler Murray is kind of in the same boat. He's been handed everything.
Hold on. So
he's been handed everything.
Murray
Steve Young
is what they call stupid smurf. He's a stupid smurf. He does the dumbest shit that's possible and expect to get rewarded for it.
Yes.
We're done with it.
You know, so Steve Young standing up for Zach Wilson. So let's just be honest, all right? Steve Young comes out of BYU, goes to the USFL, and is handed the richest contract in professional sports history.
Fresh out.
Never mind the fact the team can't afford to pay him that, but whatever. That league folds. He goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He can't beat out. By the way, I am blasting a Hall of Famer for anybody who wants to question my balance. He goes to Tampa Bay. He can't beat out Steve the Bird and Vinny Testaverde. He then goes to San Francisco and is handed, bequeathed a Hall of Fame offense.
With the Hall of Fame coach. Don't forget.
With a Hall of Fame coach. Hall of Fame coach.
Right? When did Steve Walsh retire and they brought in?
He retired that second season.
What was his name? The Bartlow?
No, he brought in it was Steve Walsh.
Don't you say no damn the Barlow. I gave you the low.
What was the head coach that took over after Steve Walsh?
Bill Walsh retired. I'll tell you here in a second. Bill Walsh retired.
The Barlow was the owner, right?
The Barlow was the owner.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Bill Walsh's defense coordinator.
It won't get to me.
Defensive coordinator. And I apologize, I got to look this up because I can't remember this man's name. Because he came up with the elephant defense. It literally is what made him special, was that elephant defense. Wow. This and then of course the site I go to gives me every black head coach.
Speaking of defense, the New York Football Giants have my favorite defense in the NFL right now. I don't know if y'all have been paying them any mind, but when you get a chance, watch a full Giants game. If you want to see the most luxurious, George Seifert, that's his name. Yep. If you want to see some exotic blitzes that you've never seen before, watch the Giants. It is lovely. It is beautiful football.
But so Bill Walsh retires. George Seifert takes over. They win the championship, right? They win the championship. How many Super Bowls do you think Steve won?
He said, "Get the monkey off my back."
And he got it off his back.
Like literally, they was you see him, they pulled it off.
Now,
because you know why he had a monkey on his back? Because you went to a Hall of Fame offense and you weren't getting it done. Your time was running short. If you can't win with that offense as it was already established, then you should not be quarterbacking for anybody.
So he is a 3-time Super Bowl winner.
Yeah, that was the first one when he said, "Get the monkey out my back," because
but two of those Super Bowls, he was the backup quarterback for Joe Montana, the GOAT. And I'm not knocking his career, but when Steve Young, who was bequeathed a Super Bowl championship, who played at BYU, who was given the richest contract in pro football history, I take that with a grain of salt. I don't think Steve Young knows what privilege looks like because he lives privilege. So it's not a knock on Steve, but that's like me saying, I know what good barbecue tastes like. Well, I make good barbecue, so I don't know what bad barbecue tastes like.
So it becomes a cultural difference.
Exactly.
Where he's blind to certain things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because he can't understand what it looks like from the other side.
Yeah. And so if this continues, if Mike White continues to play well and Zach Wilson continues to sulk on the sideline, he won't be a starting NFL quarterback anywhere else. Because You got rookies who ain't never done nothing in the NFL going, this dude is a problem. I don't know what being a professional wide receiver is, but this dude is a problem. A dude that asked to be traded, TP, this man asked to be traded. Got several passes thrown his way because Zach doesn't want to be boring. The best play in NFL football history is a check down. You live to fight another day.
I was gonna say a play that works, but we can go with check down.
So Zach Wilson, he's just horrible. He's a horrible person, and he don't know it. Like, I have been known to be a jerk, but I know that I'm a jerk, and so I'm cognizant of how I treat people because I can be a jerk.
You know, I agree with that statement because, you know, when my wife says you're an asshole, I say, well,
please God,
we both know this. So it's not like you're saying anything that I wasn't already aware of. But when you tell somebody that they need to be held accountable and they never been held accountable, they don't know what that means. Somebody needs to help him understand. They got to take him under their wing and try to get him to understand that it ain't all about you. Because that's what it is. He thinks it's all about him, and that's why he's on the sideline still drawing attention to himself like a little child. Children throw tantrums. You a grown-ass man. You lost your job, man up, work hard, and you might see the field again. But if you let that be the defining factor in your career, then you just showed everybody what your true colors are anyway. And we'll see you on your way out.
All right. While we was starting the podcast, quick programming note. Steven Stamkos of the Tampa Bay Lightning has hit, I want to say, 1,000 career points. 10,000 career points.
Go Bulls.
Man, they playing like absolute garbage this year. It's still early. I know we ain't supposed to count nothing until December, but like they make me want to put my hands on somebody. You know who is playing terrible? The Lakers.
No, man, Russ came through the other night, man. Russ hit 2 threes. He hit a bomb, and then he turned around and hit a half-court shot. I mean, come on, man.
But yeah, you're right. It's too early to talk about hockey or basketball. We'll get to those in January.
Yeah, it's too early. Like
we got Clemson blowing their chance. That's what we got. If you didn't watch college football this past weekend, you were under a rock. I'm sorry. There was some Ohio State got hands and feet put on them up there.
Let's talk about Ohio State. Since we here, let's talk about Ohio State. So, for anybody that don't know, the most expensive defensive coordinator job in America belongs to the Ohio State defensive coordinator. So if he was playing,
wait. To be fair, as a deep on any level, would you expect the team you're going against, whose starting running back is hurt, and they have a converted linebacker to fullback / running back, take a handoff and then throw a jump pass?
Now,
there's nobody in the world.
We're going to get to some other stuff before that, though, TP. There's
nobody preparing for that. There's nobody preparing for that.
Going into this game, the Michigan quarterback was missing more open throws than Tom Brady.
And Dak Prescott.
Keep his name out your mouth.
And so going into this game, Ohio State was like, we're going to force him to throw. We're going to play man-to-man and see what it do. And it looked like it was working until it wasn't.
How long? Because it looked like it was working for how long? One drive? One drive? They stopped them. They stopped them one drive the whole game.
What's the running back name? Corbin or Corn?
Yeah, he was out.
He was out. He tried to give it a go. He couldn't give it. It wasn't working.
They had to bring in their third string converted linebacker to running back, and they let him throw a pass. And it was completed.
TP is mad about the jump pass.
I'm not mad. Look, I'm saying you can't blame Ohio State's defensive coordinator because nobody is preparing for that. There's a lot of things you go through your look, I coach football too. So I understand when you're preparing for your opponent, there are certain things you're looking at film. Okay, they like to go stretch left a lot. They like to pull their backside guard. They're doubling the end and pulling the guard around the side to get an extra blocker. Like there's little things like that you're looking at. You're not looking for a converted linebacker to running back to come in and throw a jump pass on fourth down. That's not what we're preparing for. I'm sorry. Great game plan, Michigan. They deserve to win because they were more prepared than Ohio State. Bottom line, they were more prepared.
All I know is Ohio State, y'all man-to-man was getting torched by slow-ass tight ends. Like, okay. So I'm not going to say Michigan don't have no speed.
These were the most open players I've ever seen in my life.
I'm like,
look, most of the D balls were underthrown. If
they were waiting. They were waiting on the ball and then ran for a touchdown.
If you would have played just a lick of defense, Ohio State was not prepared. I'm sorry. And the sad thing is they still might get into the playoffs just because of how it's set up.
Amber's in the chat. So for all you Ohio people, Amber, I need y'all to explain to me how y'all gonna be tough when y'all are the Fighting Acorns. Because for those who don't know, a Buckeye ain't nothing but an acorn. Just call it an acorn. That's what it is. The Fighting Acorns got beat by the rabbit rodents.
So we disrespected mascots now. We've taken it a step further, and now we're disrespecting the mascots. Well, if anybody is out here losing to a tree, Stanford.
Come on.
If you losing to a tree.
Oh God. But wait, it gets better. It gets better.
No.
So Spencer Rattler, for me, and I normally don't criticize college players, but he was the star of QB1 on Netflix. He was supposed to be all of that. Y'all know how I feel about my quarterbacks. I like them to be a certain height, like at least a certain weight. Spencer is not that. Spencer is 5 foot something, 100 and something. And he couldn't make Riley's offense go at Oklahoma. So he transferred out just like Caleb Williams transferred out. How do you transfer out and become a Heisman Trophy? We'll talk about that later. Transferred out. And he had a hell of a game against Tennessee. But to be fair, I could get back behind any offensive line in America that can just give me 3 seconds, and I probably could have a hell of a season against Tennessee. So I take that with a grain of salt. But neither one of these teams was playing defense. Let's just be honest. But Clemson, I'm not going to act like I like Dabu. No grown man should be running around here telling people to call him Dabu. running around here drinking his coffee with his pinky. Look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. South Carolina felt some type of way about that rivalry weekend. Like it was in their soul. They was for to put hands and feet. And Dabu, you let Spencer Rattler put hands and feet on you. He can't even see across the middle. Every time he throw across the middle, it is a hope and a prayer. And gutted y'all. TP, I think he might have made his way into the NFL draft on that game. So, with that loss,
I mean, he looked good. He was throwing dimes.
You know, I like to make bold predictions every now and then, because I told y'all, you know what? I'm gonna wait for that one. But
LSU versus Georgia this week.
Hold on, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. This will be the end of Clemson. That loss ended their run because Dabu liked to run his mouth about NIL. Every recruiter in the country is like, well, Dabu not gonna let you get no money. You might as well come over here. At least I can get you some money. That's the end of Clemson and maybe even the ACC. But
you think one loss is the end of Clemson? Mind you, they had not lost at home in 6 years. That was their first loss at home in 6 years. You think that one loss derails
their
an
dynasty?
Entire franchise?
I do, because of the trend of what he's doing. Like, they are not head and shoulders above anybody in the ACC anymore. And it's not that the ACC caught up. It's that they don't have the players no more. They can't go top to bottom. I got more talent than Wake Forest. Like, Wake Forest was not scared of Clemson. If Wake Forest not idiots, they win the ACC. So, but, you know, they blew their shot at trying to get into the championship game because somebody was going to lose this weekend and open up a spot. But Clemson messed that up. But LSU still had a chance. But something happened, TP.
Something big happened.
Something real big happened. Money. That goddamn dude. Money. I don't like him. Money. I want all things bad in life happen to Jimbo Fisher and nobody else. Money. But I gotta respect him. He gets bad. Money. This dude ain't won nothing all year long. Was sitting dead last in the SEC West, where I predicted he would be. And somehow,
said fourth. You said fourth.
I'm sorry, I said four.
I said third. You said fourth. They were sixth and last. Seventh. My bad. Last.
Somehow they beat LSU, who could have gotten into the play. You know, LSU could have gotten the playoffs with a 2-loss record. So, in one fell swoop, Jimbo Fisher fucks up another college team like he did Florida State.
But wait, ain't LSU still in the SEC championship game?
Yeah. Do you imagine the chaos if they beat Georgia?
I was talking to my guys about it. Just imagine. Like, look, if Georgia loses, the furthest they drop is 4. Because you can't put them under Alabama, who's sitting at 5 and don't even have to play this week. If Bama gets into the playoffs, it's a failed system.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I called it. Go back 4 weeks. I said, watch Alabama make the playoffs without even having to play in the SEC championship. My exact words. And it is shaping up exactly for that. USC, if they fuck up, if TCU fucks up, where do you think Bama's going to be? They're going to be right in the playoffs. We're going to have an all SEC and Big Ten playoff.
So here's the terrible part, right? Here's the terrible part. USC already lost to Utah this year because Utah is a tougher team.
The quarterback for USC is on Heisman watch. If you're not hip to him yet, after this week you will be. Watch the USC Utah game.
If USC can't stop a tight end, because they can't stop tight end to save their life. If they can't figure out a way to stop a tight end, it's gonna be a long, long day for USC. Because Utah can convert third downs. They can run the football. They can chew up clock. Like Mike Riley's offense is beautiful, but they need the football. And Utah is not very friendly with the football. So, this is gonna be an interesting week this week. Interesting week this week. You know what? I'm gonna throw something in the show because it's just funny to me. And it may be funny to me because I'm black, but it's funny to me. Good Morning America has a scandal on its hands. Again. Apparently, two of the co-hosts are having a consensual affair. And Trump, why would you say that? Because both of them married. Ain't this the same show that got rid of Matt Lauer because he was around here knocking off staffers? And Good Morning America has a interracial affair scandal. It couldn't happen to better people. If I could wish bad stuff on a company, that's what I wish on them. I just didn't know I wanted that type of wish for them. Now I'm done being evil because that's been the highlight of my day, the absolute highlight of my day. By the way, I don't normally plug other websites, but Black Sports Online, Robert Little, if y'all got to check him out on Twitter. Listen, I need to learn the art of clickbait titles because he is having way too much fun with these titles. Way too much fun. Matter of fact, if listen, TJ Holmes pulled up on Robert Little and swung on him, I would understand because these titles are not nice to him. Oh God. I'm sorry, that was wrong. I need to be better as a Christian. Moving along. Right now, the Bills are up 17-7 on the Patriots. So, getting serious. Also, the Lightning have found their groove. They're up 4-0 in the third. Not time. All right, TP. We don't really cover basketball a whole lot because it's just early December. But LeBron James, at the end of his press conference, questioned reporters on why they're not running up to ask him his opinion of the Jerry Jones picture when he was a 15-year-old kid. And this is in the backdrop of the media absolutely dragging Kyrie Irving on what seemingly appeared to be anti-Semitic comments or an anti-Semitic link to a movie that he had not fully vetted. And the title is provocative. And so people went to check out the film or had knew about the film, was like, oh, this is anti-Semitic, whatever. The Anti-Defamation League got up in arms. And so he was extorted $500,000. Please understand, I'm not mincing words. That was extortion. In order to do the thing that you love to do, You got to pay the people you offended with your post and your words, because he didn't really make anti-Semitic comments. He just didn't apologize the way they thought he should apologize. So it's extortion. $500,000 and then go through sensitivity training. Now, as a business owner, I do understand I don't want my employees doing anything to make my business look bad. But in any other business, are you able to tell your employees you got to pay this amount of money to keep working? I haven't heard of anything in any other arena like that. But that's okay. And I posted on Twitter that the Black media sees sports as the single greatest Black income wealth creator, along with the the sub economies. So you have sports, you have sports shows, you have, vending companies, vendors that deal with companies who have all of these sub little entities that revolve around sports. So they're thinking, hey, they are generating wealth for minorities. The largest generator of wealth for minorities is college degrees, advanced college degrees, not just your bachelor's, advanced college degrees, and the ownership of property. That's it. What that guy do with them football players is 1/10 of 1% of the United States population plays football professionally. That does not generate wealth. You can go into a ballroom full of Black people, you might not see one professional football player there. So all of this, well, we don't want to rock the boat, and Stephen A. Smith getting on ESPN. Well, Jerry Jones is my friend. And I don't care. I understand what this is. This is also, you got to pay attention to all the backdrop that's going on. CEO of ABC said that Disney is going to tamp down on the culture wars, meaning they're going to stay out of all that controversial stuff that white people don't like. You know, white people don't like bringing up the fact that they used to be racist. And Jerry Jones telling me that he was curious because he looked like a curious idiot right here. He do. However, here's the problem. The curious idiot is standing behind the bullies blocking African Americans for getting equal education. So if you don't say nothing about what's going along, then you're just going along. And you just as bad as the perpetrators of the injustice. What somebody said, it is the silence of the knowing that is the greatest injustice of all. You said nothing. And now, as an old haggard white man is trying to get to the Super Bowl again, you've yet to say, I shouldn't have been there. I should have known better. I was just curious.
I think he is trying to maintain a presumption of innocence, which, as we know in this country, has not been awarded to Black people. The presumption is if he says anything that he's acknowledging, and with the lack of acknowledgement, he hopes it just goes away. But we ain't going away. That photo ain't going away. You're not fooling nobody. We've always known you was a bigot. Always. Just because you hire Black players, because football is a predominantly dominated by African American sport, that does not make you any less of a bigot. That just makes you a capitalist in a capitalistic country. So the lack of acknowledgement, it doesn't surprise me because he doesn't come off as a person that ever admits fault. He let he let Jason Garrett stay the coach of the Cowboys for how long? When we knew he was not a good coach?
No, 5 years.
He would not publicly admit that he made a mistake in hiring Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett should have always been a quarterback coach, never a head coach. There's a lot of guys that have been head coaches that realize that they shouldn't have been a head coach, and then they fall back and they go back into their coordinator realm of business. But Jerry Jones himself isn't somebody that's going to admit fault for anything. He didn't admit fault about the daughter that came out of nowhere this past year. Like, his name has stayed in the news. And not once have we heard him apologize or admit fault for anything. He's not going to. He'll take that to his grave because that is the type of person he is.
I find it interesting that Jerry Jones went to a high school that didn't want African Americans there. He played on a football team, correct me if I'm wrong, that didn't have African Americans on the football team. And he is yet to hire a minority head football coach in all the years he's owned the Dallas Cowboys. I don't even want Jerry Jones to run out and hire a black anything. I just want you to take 500,000, 500 million, whatever the number you want it to be, and put it into a school. That's all I want. I feel like that will be equal treatment for what Kyrie went through and what African Americans are going through. Because those same reporters that didn't ask LeBron James about the Jerry Jones photo, this is the same energy Kyrie Irving was talking about. So all of you Jewish reporters, sports reporters, or Jewish individuals who are in sports organizations who have not sent reporters to ask Jerry Jones in-depth questions about this photo. By the way, this photo came up from a documentary, which I'm probably guessing that when they did the research, Daniel Snyder probably helped them with that research. You see what I'm going here? Daniel Snyder is not going out without a fight. This ain't the first sample, and I'm pretty sure Jerry knew where this came from. But like I said, Jewish people, if you don't want to create the narrative or continue the narrative that you control media, that you control Hollywood, when stories like this come out, you got to pounce on it. Because what then happens is you got a Kanye situation. Because it then reinforces idiots like Kanye that this is actually happening. By the way, if y'all don't know why I'm bringing up Kanye, Kanye went on Alex Jones today and started spouting off more anti-Semitic BS. So much so that the racist Alex Jones cringed. Imagine being at the Klan rally and the black guy at the Klan rally goes, whoa, you too racist, dog. You got to settle down. That's what happened today. And the reason that happened today is because of stories like this, not getting proper attention, fueling misinformation about Jews. And it is going to be up to Jews to handle it. Just like in the 60s when y'all marched with us. This is one of those moments in time. You can't sit on the sideline and not get involved. You actually have to get involved because then it perpetuates the same thing that people have been saying about you guys over and over again, even though it may not be true. So this isn't one of those situations where you got to just prove a negative. This is one of those situations where you got to be involved so that when the negative come up, nobody believes it. I know I said a lot there, but it's really simple. It's really simple. It ain't hard at all. Because otherwise, people who were like me, who are allies, I would say, to Jewish people in media, because that's what we are, we now become skeptical. Because you've caused us to become skeptical. Because it seems that if it's not your interest, you don't care about it. And my history tells me that whether you want to admit it or not, we have a shared history, a shared almost a symbiotic relationship for success. Because when they stop going after me, they're going to eventually come after you. So that's why you stand together. I would like the Asian Americans to get this, but they're too busy going into court trying to get into Ivy League schools to hear anything I got to say. Yeah, that was a shot. I probably shouldn't have said that, but it's true. You don't go after affirmative action to get into Ivy League schools. You ask for additional programs to get you into Ivy League schools. That's what we had to do because we were not.
It is true. Sorry, y'all.
So there's that. But I'll get off my high horse. We got some other topics to talk about. All right. So Marlo's here. And last week I had to tell children there wasn't a Santa Claus. I had to tell Miami fans Zach Thomas didn't deserve to get in the Hall of Fame.
Did you say you had to tell children there was no Santa Claus?
I had to do it. It was an ugly Twitter rant.
He told me Easter Bunny wasn't real either.
It was ugly. Like I was on Twitter and I was taking heat for the truth. And the truth is Zach Thomas is not a Hall of Famer. The truth is, and I know TP wants to have this discussion, Hines Ward is not a Hall of Famer. The truth is, Joe Thomas is not a Hall of Famer. The truth is, Joe Thomas is not a Hall of Fame. And I have heroes that are not in the Hall of Fame. I wish like hell Mel Gray was in the Hall of Fame. I wish like hell Alvin Harper was in the Hall of Fame, not the Buccaneer years, Dallas years. But they're not Hall of Famers. Jim Plunkett should be in the Hall of Fame.
Why?
What you mean why? Jim Plunkett.
Why? No
He's
way.
Jim fucking Plunkett. He got a Super Bowl. He can throw the ball deep.
You know who else got a Super Bowl? Joe Flacco got a Super Bowl.
What we not finna do is compare a dude that was holding the clipboard to the dude that was the starter. Now, granted, he gave the ball to Marcus Allen a lot. But when he wasn't giving the ball to Marcus Allen, he was throwing it deep downfield. But my hero is not in the Hall of Fame. All your heroes don't get in the Hall of Fame. For every Tiki Barber, there's a Steve Smith Jr. and a Musha Muhammad, and every wide receiver that played in Atlanta, and every wide receiver that played in New Orleans. Rondé Barber is an excellent blitzer and cover two corner. But cover two corners ain't what gets you into the Hall of Fame. Are you the top 5 at your position? Are you going to shut down the best of the best? Rondé Barber is not shutting down the best of the best. There was Champ Bailey's in the world. There was a lot of great corners in his era. And unfortunately, he had wonderful stats, but they empty stats. Ain't not my fault. Don't get mad at me. Don't shoot the messenger. But there are some guys on there that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. They gonna get in the Andre Johnson better get in the Hall of Fame. Like, fuck we talking about? Andre Johnson played with a million different quarterbacks. They couldn't throw him the ball. Instead, he put up stats. But I see Marlo don't want to have this debate right now. I understand. It's cool.
I got the thing here with my headphones in my head, but I'm in the building.
Moving along, Antonio Brown is arrested again.
Wow.
Apparently,
on Antonio Brown.
Because Antonio Brown.
No. I'm still mad about this Jim Plunkett. I'm still mad. I had to check because I kind of already knew. In his first 10 years in the NFL, he never threw over 53% completion percentage. Did you know that?
So what that mean, TP?
That means he's below average.
Did he go to the Pro Bowl? Did he go to the Super Bowl? Was his team winning? What are we talking about here?
No, because that's why he left the Patriots. They weren't winning.
And he went to the Raiders.
They let him go.
2-time Super Bowl champion. NFL comeback player of the year.
One-time Super Bowl.
NFL rookie of the year. Come on, man. 2-time Super Bowl champion. Two times.
Oh, yeah, he won 2 Super Bowls, and he was the MVP of one of them. My bad.
Hall of Fame, man.
His best completion percentage was 68%.
We're not talking about the interceptions.
Because he played 3 games that season.
Listen, y'all see New England, 1971 and 1975. That was not like Tom Brady, New England. That was New England. Let me tell you how bad the New England situation was. The New England situation was so bad, they had to, in the 80s, they had to go get SMU's head coach. He's probably going to get fired for cheating anyway. But they had to go get SMU's head coach to make it a relevant team. And when they got him, they went to the Super Bowl. Coaching matters. This guy had no coach for 4 years.
Bruh, in his last 8 years in the NFL, he only played more than 10 games once.
TP.
What you always say, your best asset is your availability. He wasn't available.
Yes, I will agree.
He showed up to work and barely showed up to work.
Because he was getting knocked out by the best pass rushers in the history of the world. From 78 to 76, he wasn't dealing with Zach Thomases of the world. He was dealing, when he got done dealing with Ed Too Tall Jones, he had to deal with Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor was on the Giants, not even the same conference. Relax.
I'm giving an example.
No, you're not, because they didn't even.
These were some TP. That era had the best pass rushers. As a collective, from 78 to 90, come on, man. There were monsters.
Are you telling me right now on this podcast that pass rushers were better in the 70s than they are now?
Because they were pass protection was not what it is now.
Absolutely fucking not. We got 6'6" guys running 4-4 now. You cannot tell me that they had better pass rushers. No, y'all had worse blocking.
You got a 6'6" dude running 4-4s. But back then, they had offensive linemen running 8'5s with a motherfucker 6'5" running a 5 flat.
No, what you had was 240-pound left tackles. That's what you had. You had tackles that was the same size as outside linebackers. That was what you had. You know what?
Hold on, because see, I know.
Marlo, am I wrong? Stop me if I'm wrong.
Absolutely
My
not.
dude,
That's
let's do
just a silly. That's a silly argument.
That's
You have dudes
Arcel,
that are
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
big
We're not
6,
doing that. We're
300
not
pounds
doing that.
running 4 threes. That's crazy. Come on.
Lawrence Taylor
Arcel,
was before his time, and that's why he was so dominant.
Arcel was 6. Ed Too Tall Jones was before his time. Easy. Wait a minute, what I'm talking about? You talk all that shit all the time about the motherfucking catch. Who was the defensive end? Ed Too Tall Jones.
You said about the catch?
Yes, Ed Too Tall Jones was the defensive end closing in on Joe Montana. And he put that pump fake on him. Put that shoulder on him.
Another reason why Joe Montana ain't the GOAT.
Oh
He didn't see him.
Oh my God.
He was throwing the ball
God.
away. He even said,
oh my God.
We're going to glorify a mistake that ended up being one of the greatest catches of all time.
You're right. You know what? You're right. You're right. Why would we glorify a dude who in the middle of the Super Bowl, by the way, he went his Super Bowls with touchdowns, not field goals. Instead of focusing,
he just ain't the GOAT.
He just ain't. Oh, we're not doing this. I'm not doing this.
He just ain't the GOAT.
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. The reason why I'm not doing this.
Look,
I'm sorry.
He even said it in an interview. I could not see Dwight Clark. I was throwing it away. And all I seen was him come down with the ball. He literally said it.
TB.
That's not a quarterback that made a great play. The greatest part of that play was him not getting sacked.
Because Joe Montana was not a statue. Like, I need this not to be the narrative. Joe Montana was not stationary.
I never said he was. I never called him a statue. I just said he ain't the GOAT.
Joe Montana. You know what? I'm not having this debate. All I'm going to say is because this get TP riled up because he's still upset by the catch.
You sitting here pissing in folks' cereal, talking about their favorite players ain't Hall of Famers, where your favorite player ain't the GOAT. How about that?
Oh God. Okay. All right. Oh, that went down a rabbit hole that I didn't expect. Oh man. Again, Antonio Brown. I don't understand. Like, somebody help me. But we'll move on. So we'll talk about Marlo's favorite subject. USA. 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 And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, the men's soccer team, for the first time since 2014, has advanced to the next round of the World Cup. They beat Iran 1-0 in what was probably a very contentious game. Leading up to the match, the Iranian government made threats to the Iranian players' families if they showed any type of protest or whatever. I've never played anything where the threat of violence to one's family was an issue. I don't think, with the exception of maybe the Colombians, that anybody's family was under threat based on the outcome of a fucking game. And even leading up to the match, it had been so contentious that one of the U.S. Men's soccer players were asked, how could he play for the United States when the United States discriminated against players? And he responded eloquently, very non-controversially, and that kind of made that whole question go away. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I feel like the CIA set that man up in there to be like, I'm from Iran and blah, 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 and then put the question out there. That's just my thing. I could be wrong. But either way, the USA is moving on. Also, Saudi Arabia. They beat Argentina and made it a whole heckle fest about Messi. I just want to point out that although that pretty motherfucker ain't on Manchester United no more. Ronaldo is the GOAT. He has scored in every one of his World Cups. So, to be fair, it's Pele, Ronaldo, and somewhere in the back room is missing. So, yeah, I said it. I don't care who don't like it. Whoa. Speaking of Pele, he has been diagnosed with bronchopneumonia and remains in the hospital. Let's hope he gets well. I thought some prayers go to his family. I just like that is wow. That literally just popped up. So USA plays Saturday. And they play the Dutch. They play Netherlands. And we don't, the Dutch are evil, so we don't like the Dutch. Hopefully we beat them by 6 or something and advance to the next round. See, Mother don't want to talk about the World Cup. It's cool. But I bet you if it was FAMU soccer, he'll want to talk about it. John Kitna's son apparently was disseminating child pornography. And I hate that they classified as that, but Jalen Kitna was arrested on Thursday, or arrested on Wednesday, for 5 counts of child pornography. And this could be something as simple as a girl sending him some pictures of him sending it showing to somebody else and it, getting out of hand. And I'm not diminishing this, but I want everybody to be aware that the very same laws that have derailed African American athletes for years has now caught a athlete with a very prominent name. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out and how justice handles this. To be fair, I hope this doesn't end this young man's life. I hope they're able to put him on a path of redemption. But I just would like to see how this plays out, because I don't want this to be one of those situations to where, like they had in California, where a similar situation happened and they gave the dude probation because he was too pretty to be in jail. So, are we going to talk about former Nebraska interim head coach being arrested for choking out a woman? Are we going to touch that? All right. So there is talk, lots of talk, about Giannis in 2 years opting out of his contract and going to New York. I currently do not have an NBA team. Giannis isn't exactly my type of player. But if he goes to New York, I might have to rethink who I'm leaning towards as a basketball team. Because I'm out here thinking. Because New York almost had me, but they didn't pull the trigger on Donovan Mitchell. And there is no way I'm rooting for Cleveland ever in life. Like, life ain't that bad where I got to root for Cleveland. So, And then, TB, I'm going to tell you who my new favorite NBA player is. Jason Williams. If you take away the three-pointer, he's starting to look a lot like Alex English. Small forward, live and die with the jump shot. Carmelo gone, that might be my new favorite player. Because, I like Devin Booker, don't get me wrong. He putting up numbers. Devin Booker putting up numbers, but I don't know. Somebody small forward with a jump shot that make me go, that's my kind of guy. But, hey. All right. So, TP.
There's a lot of good young talent in the NBA right now. We're seeing the decline of guys that were dominant for so long. Kevin Durant had the game of his life because he was tired of all all the negative comments about him. He had to go out there and show the world that he still got it. But, you know, we're seeing we saw the decline of Carmelo, LeBron, you know, big names. You got to pass the torch. Devin Booker, Trae Young, Ja Morant. You know, Giannis is right in the middle. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, MVP. What can't the man do? You know, champion. The NBA is in good hands, as I like to say. I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing from the young rookie Jabari from my Rockets, but 11 points a game not gonna get it done. So we're gonna need you to pick it up, young man. If you playing 30 minutes a game, you at least need to be scoring 15 points. At least. Half a point a minute. Like, help me out here.
So here's what's great about the NBA. Like as the stars get older in age, there are new stars that emerge, and I'm liking what. Okay, so I didn't like what I saw with Arizona losing to an Australian professional team. I didn't like that at all, and I think I pretty much dragged them like up and down the street, and they deserved it. You lose to lesser talent like that, you're supposed to get dragged. But they have seemed to bounce back. Their coach is a very good coach, but they got some talent on that team. They got some real talent on that team, and the team is going to be special, provided that they can deal with the Warriors, who, TP, I'm looking at the Warriors and I'm thinking to myself, if Wiseman matures and his game matures, it might be time to trade Draymond. Just a little bit, because apparently Clay still got that jump shot. He still got the jump shot, but I don't know. Oh, I'm trying to make sure we didn't miss anything, because from time to time we miss some major stories. And I want to make sure I don't miss that, because I know it's a lot of stuff that we miss. Did the Pistons beat the Mavs? Did that happen? I guess that really happened. But I think that's pretty much all I got, really. The Texas Longhorns old coach is now Florida Athletics, FAU's head coach. Marlo, the Rays are gonna play Zach Eflin 3 years, $40 million. They've never paid a player that much.
That's okay. It's time.
They're trying to get that stadium. They're trying to get a stadium. Oh, it ain't gonna win the World Series. What are we talking about? Houston gonna win it again. Germany did not reach the next round of the World Cup, and it's kind of hilarious that Germany didn't make it and we did. We're gonna have Marlo cover the World Cup. Tell us what his thoughts are. But it is, I guess, that time of the week. where we talk about the wonderful things that we talk about, and I try not to get us banned from YouTube. Although I think I probably crossed the line about 8 times tonight. But let's see. I guess I'll go first this week. I've been going first. I'm going last for a while. I had a lot of stuff to get off my chest. So we didn't talk about it much today because we kind of went through a lot of topics. But it's December. And I want to talk about these warm weather teams. Here in the Tampa Bay area, the Bucks are in first place of the NFC Losers Division. They are one game away from being behind every team in the division. Nobody has run away with this division. Like, how you have Tom Brady and have a losing record? They want to be GOAT and have a losing record. But I digress. That ain't as big a deal as Miami. And if you're a Miami fan, y'all already know December is not y'all time of the year. And I don't know what cruel football god put y'all in the AFC East. But it's this time of year where y'all go up north and you lose. And you've always lost in December. Did you know Dan Marino has a losing record to Ken O'Brien? Did you know? I bet y'all don't even know who
Ken O'Brien is.
That part. Ken O'Brien entire career was, I'm going to be mediocre until I play Miami. And would whoop Miami because he's still pissed off that people thought Dan Marino was better than him.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Ken O'Brien. Hey, why is that important, Troy? It's important because Miami plays in the furthest southern city in all of football year-round. Unless you spend a month in Canada, y'all ain't ready for New England. Y'all ain't ready for the Jets. Y'all ain't ready for Kansas City. And you definitely ain't ready for the Raiders. So I feel like Miami goes 500 down the stretch, limps into the playoffs, and get blasted by a team that is in the cold. God forbid y'all end up in Tennessee in December and have to tackle Derrick Henry. Because it's going to be the playoffs. And they're going to remember last year, and they're not going to throw the ball. They're just going to hand it off over and over and over.
Would you blame them?
And one thing that we learned about Tyreek Hill in the playoffs, they're going to let him catch the ball on outs. And as soon as he get close to the ball, they're going to put that wood on. And he's going to drop the ball. You know, like he did against the Bucks. Like he did against the Bengals. Yeah. And here's the worst part, right? The worst part is his running mate don't like to get hit either. And he gets hit and he puts it on the carpet. And you don't like to throw it to Gesicki. I know, because he was on my fantasy squad. So have fun, Miami fans. It was nice, like, listening to all y'all boast and brag about how y'all was going to the Super Bowl. Do y'all know y'all record below 50? I know the Bucks record below 50. And the Bucks got a better record than y'all do below 50. It's about to be ugly. It's about to be crying fans everywhere. And you deserve what you get. Y'all had a perfectly good head coach. And y'all ran him out of town for 2. But that is football. Also, Jimbo Fisher, shout out to you. Pulling off a miraculous victory, creating absolute college football chaos. I hope all the bad things in life happen to you and nobody else. But I respect you because you get the bag. TP, what you got?
They are who we thought they were. Georgia is still undefeated. I could have bet on them every week, and I'd be a rich man right now. Because they are who we thought they were. TCU, on the other hand, are limping into the Big 12 championship game. Kansas State is coming off a hell of a game to secure their spot, sitting at number 12. Could they miraculously jump to the top 4? It's going to be bedlam this week because if USC loses, if TCU loses, Alabama don't got to play. If LSU loses, which they probably will, that puts Bama right back in the dance. So my prediction is TCU does win. Georgia number 1. Michigan number 2. TCU 3. USC 4. That is my prediction.
Ooh, he put USC there. Okay. Okay.
If either TCU or USC loses, Bama slides into that 4th spot. If TCU, Georgia, and USC all lose, Georgia's still in the playoffs. It'll just be with LSU, and we'll see 3 teams from the SEC. But this is what I'm saying. This is gonna be an absolute firestorm worth of content if a lot of these top teams lose. And we've seen it before. So if you want chaos, watch college football because it's boy oh boy. Championship weekend is going down. I don't know where y'all are gonna be at, but I'm gonna be glued right here in my seat watching college football on Saturday. It's a don't miss. This is the week. This is the best weekend in college football. It does not get better than this. If you ain't watched it all year and you like college football, or you just like football in general, and you're not really a college football fan, just watch it this weekend. I promise you it'll change your mind. Watch your little college football. But that's all I got for you. NFL, we'll talk about you next week because this is the week we find out who really won it in college football. So I'm gonna let them have their shine this week. But NFL, I'm on your ass next week.
Marlo.
I'm just getting back, and I wish we could have had this conversation that we just had amongst some of the brothers I have around me. They tried to compare Ray Lewis with Deion Sanders as a leader of men. Like I take exception to that. Like
he stabbed somebody. Never mind.
I think Ray Lewis is probably one of the top 5 linebackers that ever played the game. I think that his talent on the field is spectacular and probably can be without question. But to compare the leadership that Deion Sanders has over the men that he coaches at Jackson State and say that Ray Lewis could do a job like that, I take exception to that. But out of respect for all the parties that I have named, I'm just going to go ahead and say football is a fluid entity. Football is something that many people who play the game, watch the game, even vicariously observe the game, have grown to love. And it's conversations like this that sparks me to want to continue to do this podcast, because helping to educate people on facts. Facts is what matters. Like, if you don't have facts, and if you can't cover your belief in fact, then you're being led astray and you're doing a disservice to yourself. So when you have conversations about what is and what should be, make that based on facts. Because this conversation was not based on facts. It pretty much was based on someone's ideology on what one player was or should be. And that cannot grow our environment. It can't grow our culture. So let's be based on facts and continue to do what we do. And that's all I got, people. I'm happy to be back.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. There was a spirited debate that was had off camera this evening. All I'm gonna say is I'm gonna put part of it up because I think it would be interesting insight into how we think and feel. I do not apologize. Listening to Cheerios, telling you Santa Claus not real, telling you your favorite sports heroes don't deserve to get in the Hall of Fame. Because you come here to get the truth. Gathering the Old Men podcast because there is a gap of knowledge that we feel. There are generational information that is going to be had. There's going to be great players in your generation, my generation, my grandfather's generation, my father's generation. And we need to be able to pass that down. There are people that still think, Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game was a myth. And then there are other people that's like, no, he could have averaged 100 points every night if he wanted to. But again, that's history that we're here to pass down. And I love having spirited debates about history. There's just some stuff that's not up for debate. I'll just be honest. But there are stuff that we're here to learn. Like, y'all teach me stuff just as much as I try to teach information. I feel bad that it feels like that I'm beating up on some players. Some players I don't intend to beat up on. Just history has beaten up on them. That's not what I'm intending to do. There are some players like Tom Brady, not this year because this year wasn't fair to him. But on a normal year, I would beat up on Tom Brady. But beating up on Tom Brady this year, it's kind of it's wrong. It's like kicking a man while he's down. He lost his supermodel wife, he lost his family. I'm not kicking him while he's down. That's wrong. Now, Kyler Murray, Zach Wilson, no, y'all get kicked right in the face because you earned every bit of it. But we got to be fair. We got to be conscious of how we treat people. So we try to disseminate information as best we can. Again, thank you guys for coming out. Wonderful time. Great podcast. Glad to have Marlo back. I probably will put out a clip of the pre-podcast discussion because it was very, very spirited. Mrs. TP, I need you to know that was TP and not us. That was all TP. I don't want no smoke.
I did nothing.
I don't want no smoke. We be like, can he come down to Orlando? We don't want no problems. All right, again, thank y'all for coming down. Good night, everybody.